Hey guys, it's Size, and in this one we're going to be looking more so about the Shadow Priest in 10.1 from looking at the PTR and looking at the class changes in regards to Mythic Plus and how it holds up in dungeon scenarios. That's going to be looking at the different builds, how the tier set fits in, how the different talent changes fit in, and what kind of talent builds you're going to be playing going forward into these keys, what kind of variations we have, how it actually affects your rotation, and having a quick little look at stat priorities. Of course, this is all subject to change, and this is mostly based on my opinions, but there are obviously undeniable facts, such as what talents are better in what scenarios according to Sims. So we're going to have a little look at all of that put together, and in the background I'll have some PTR Mythic Plus gameplay or just up there for you, so you can have a little look, see how it plays, as well as the action tracker, as people have been asking for as well. Well, with that, let's get into the first discussion. So, the playstyle. I just want to preface this just by saying that all the builds we go over in this video today, you will see that the stat priority affects them massively, and we are mostly going to be looking for heavy mastery over crit equal to versa over haste, and that's going to be the case in 99% of the situations, but this is, of course, just targeted at Mythic Plus dungeon scenarios. Predominantly that is because of the 4 set and its interactions with how shadowy apparitions are, and especially with the new talent, Phantasmal Pathogen, and the changes to Tormented Spirits. Raids are also going to be a little bit different, but that's not what we're here for today. We're specifically looking towards Mythic Plus in this video. So let's crack on with the talent builds. So, the first build we're going to be looking at is Dark Ascension into N'Zoth and Cthulhu. You can change out Dark Ascension for Void Eruption depending on the dungeon or what your preference is. That's absolutely fine, but this is your general dungeon build. You'll notice that we're picking up Mental Decay. That's primarily just for the single target aspect of the build. You do find yourself somewhat lacking, especially when you've got this much AoE going on with N'Zoth. You've got your Screams of the Void and you've got your Cthulhu, especially with the Mind Sear tentacle. So Mental Decay kind of just dials this back in on priority targets in a trash pack or on a boss fight. It also means you're not redotting your primary target, which is amazing, and it increases your damage of Mind Flay or Mind Spike by 10%. That does transition over to Psychic Link as well. So this build does kind of heavily focus around your damage over time abilities, as we're going to be talent into Screams of the Void for the extra ticks for 3 seconds after you cast Devouring Plague, as well as that Dark Evangelism, so that your Mind Flay, Mind Spike and Void Torrent damage increases the damage of your periodic shadow effects by 2%, stacking up to 5 times. So you can increase your damage over time abilities, that's your Shadow Web Pain, your Vampiric Touch and your Devouring Plague, up to 10% with this talent. So you're going to want to be keeping quite a high uptime on that as well, which you should naturally do with the Mind Spikes and the Void Torrent. So leading down to the right hand side of the tree as well, we do find ourselves taken into the Isaiah. This is primarily just because with how Psychic Link works now, you're always going to have a priority target that you're Devouring Plaguing, and that's just because you want to get access to your empowered Mind Spikes, and this helps you do more damage through your Mind Blast and your Void Torrent. So now that this is affected into your Psychic Link, because all of your direct damage abilities, which is that Mind Blast, it is Void Torrent, deal extra damage, this increases that by 40%, and you're always going to have one target with all 3 dots on. So you do kind of want to make sure that before you Void Torrent on any trash pack, you are getting up a Devouring Plague first, as the Void Torrent damage empowered by Insidious Ire will feed into your cleave through Psychic Link. You will find yourself pressing Void Torrent a lot more often though, because with Malediction talented, your Void Torrent goes down to a 30-second cooldown. So you will feel like you're pressing it a lot more than on live, and that's okay. It's a good source of damage, providing you Devouring Plague first. Next, we have the famous talent tree that's doing the rounds on the Priest Discord. We have the triple no build. We do find ourselves dropping that Mental Decay just in favour for Phantasmal Pathogen for the Shadowy Apparitions damage, as well as that Tormented Spirits to increase the chance that you create a Shadowy Apparition. And you might find that this build heavily favours Critical Strike gear, mainly just because, as you can see here, Shadowy Apparitions, Critical Strikes increase the damage by 100%. And as well as your 4 set being based around your Shadowy Apparitions and the damage that they deal as well, you might tend to see more crit gear when you're looking at playing this build in Mythic Plus. You are, however, still picking up that Maddening Touch for the extra Insanity and Shadowy Insight just to funnel those Mind Blasts to generate Insanity to cleave with your Psychic Link. And finally, just for those of you that don't want to lose out on your Mindbender, your Inescapable Torment damage windows, in that 1 minute damage rotation that we have on public servers at the minute, we do have the Yashiraj and Cthulhu build. So you will see that we're giving up everything linked to Yogg-Saron. We're not taking Auspicious Spirits down the bottom, we're not taking Tormented Spirits or Idler Yogg-Saron. I think you'll still see that this build is going to be played in dungeons with smaller trash density, but again, it is all about being comfortable. I think this build is mostly going to be for those players that got used to the Seerless build on live, where they're having those 1 minute damage cooldown windows, which are very good in Mythic Plus. Like, don't get me wrong, having access to 1 minute damage consistently in a key is very nice, especially when you do see that that Dark Ascension does line up with Yashiraj, and you have a 2 minute PI as well. So you know that you're reliably, you're going to have PI every second set of cooldowns. Extremely nice. I do think this is going to be more of a comfort pick for most people, just because that's what they're used to playing, and that's completely fine. You can't go wrong with this either. So, generally speaking, the general consensus from Sims and play and the spec itself, and what we can see, is that a lot of people are going to be taking Mind Spike over Mind Flay in most scenarios, right? It does fit better with most raid fights, most dungeons, and it does seem to be doing a little bit more damage. And in terms of tuning, if that was to change, I still think it would be nicer to play Mind Spike, just because that's what people have been playing on live. You know, a lot of the time on live, you're still casting your Mind Spike instead of your Mind Flay, unless it's, you know, you do aim to get one casting of your Insanity, Mind Flay Insanity, before you DP again, just so you're not wasting it. But a lot of the time, you still will prioritize those Mind Melt procs that you used to have. It's a different talent now, but on live, what it'd do is make your Mind Spike instant cast. So, on top of that, you do generally find yourself picking up Insidious Ire 99% of the time, and that's just because when you have your Shadow Whip, Pain, Devouring Plague, and Vampiric Touch active on the same target, your Mind Blast and Void Torrent deal 40% more damage. Now, with the Psychic Link changes, all of your damage is shared to it. Like, every single bit of single target damage that you do, direct damage spells, are shared. And that does mean that when you are taken into the Ire, you're empowering those Mind Blasts, you're empowering those Void Torrents, and you do want to make sure you've got DP up before you're sending that Void Torrent, just to get the most out of your damage. Mental Decay is kind of one of those talents that you can sub in and out for anything, and the general consensus of why we take it is just for the single target aspect, right? So when you're looking at a single target boss in a dungeon, or maybe there's a priority target in a trash pack, you're not going to want to have to redot that all the time. And it also does increase the damage of your Mind Flay and Mind Spike. But this talent is the only way now of extending your dots on a single target, but it is just that. It's on one target. So it's one less target to extend your dots on, and it also does help you with heading into that Cthulhu window. Just because when you're focusing on getting your DPs out, you know, you're able to get your Mind Spikes on more of a like regular rotation, you're getting the empowered ones, you're going to be getting the Idle Cthulhu doing that passive Insanity generation, meaning that you can pump those DPs to gain access to that Mind Spike Insanity. So, as I mentioned at the start of the video, the stat priority conversation that I wanted to have with you guys is kind of that. It's just a conversation. I don't normally like doing these, just because everybody's character sims differently. It doesn't matter, unless we have the exact same gear, trinkets, gems, and chance, we're going to get different results. And even then, unless it's specifically the exact same percentage of stats, which is very unlikely based on your food that you're having, your consumables, we are going to get different results. So just before I go into this, I want everybody to just remember to sim your own character. You will get the most out of your own character by simming it. Hey guys, it's just post-edit and size. So when I originally released the video, I actually completely misinterpreted what the sims were showing on the repo the public had put out. So I completely misinterpreted it. I'm sorry for making that mistake. It won't happen again. But he did politely reach out and, you know, commenting on the video, letting me know that I was in fact wrong, and he let me know the correct stat priority going forward. And as far as it hasn't changed, I'll still throw it up on the screen for you now, but I'd just like to apologise for that little mix-up. That's the whole reason the video got took down, because I don't want to put out misinformation for you guys. And I appreciate all the kindness and support. I'm just a person, people make mistakes, but it won't happen again. I'll hop out now and let you enjoy the rest of the video. Thanks guys. And I do advise everybody to go to the Shadow Priest Discord just for more up-to-date builds and guides from Public, from his simulations craft, just because that's going to be more it's going to be updated more regularly than I can do videos, right? That's just the way of things. But now moving on to tier sets. Our tier set is based on shadowy apparitions. It doesn't change the playstyle much, but it does cause your apparitions spawned within 10 seconds after 4 Devouring Plagues to deal 80% damage. You might end up playing more into Tormented Spirits, as I mentioned before. Definitely worth trying, and I intend to try it in a few more dungeon builds before it becomes live, and I'll especially get those dungeons out to you guys with Warcraft logs as well, just so we can have a little look at the damage together. In terms of trinkets and what you're going to be looking for from the dungeons and the raid, especially in regards to how we're going to be doing Mythic Plus, you do specifically want to try and target Screaming Black Dragon Scale into Idol of Decay. That's per the latest sims. So Public is still running more tests, and he has said in the Discord that trinkets have been changed and updated since he did his last set of sims, so he's going to have them coming out in the next couple of days. So again, please go back to check the Discord in order to find more up-to-date answers as time goes on. But general consensus is you're going to be taking Screaming Black Dragon Scale into Idol of Decay. Well guys, with that, I'd like to thank you for staying for about the entirety of the video. I hope this was helpful, even for a few people, just because I understand that there's a bit of anxiety regarding the spec and how it's going to be going into Mythic Plus, but you really don't have to worry. Shadow's still going to do competitive AoE damage. We have a very good damage profile in terms of dots, being able to have that 1 minute damage window with your Shirage and Dark Ascension, or being able to do extremely good AoE through Psychic Link and Void Eruption on those bigger pulls. But with that, feel free to subscribe if you like the content. I am going to try and make more videos regularly, and I do have other videos on the channel that you might be interested in, specifically relating to raiding, how Shadow Priest feels in Aberrus, and the different kind of utility that you can get out of the spec. But thank you again guys, take care, and I'll see you next time.